In today's video, we boosted two non-league teams in FM24 in slightly different ways. First up, we have Hereford, who play their football in the Vanarama National League North. They are now a super club. They have got perfect facilities and perfect reputation, and they are really, really, really rich. They also play at Edgar Street, which now holds 200,000 fans. This must be an old photo. The only issue at Hereford is that the players are still the Hereford players. They're not very good. In this battle, they'll be up against Dover, who play their football in the Vanarama National League South. And their facilities are, well, they're still rubbish. They've still got a 6,500 capacity ground, the Crabble Athletic Ground. And their reputation is 1 star, and their training facilities and youth recruitment is still rubbish. They also can't spend any money. They've got a transfer ban until 2040. Now, you're wondering, how are they boosted then? Well, their squad is outrageously good, led by the WONDERKID manager himself, Will Still. Their squad is packed to the rafters with WONDERKIDS of FM24. They are all 16 to 19 years old, and they are the best young players in this year's game. Players like Lamine Yamal now play for Dover. Rooney Bargi there, Archie Gray, Joao Hato, Evan Ferguson, Kobe Mainu, Usman Diamande. The list goes on. If you're a good WONDERKID in FM24, you play for Dover now, and you're going to be stuck there until 2040. So in today's video, we're going to see which is better. Is it better to have a squad of WONDERKIDS, or is it better to have rubbish players but perfect facilities and all the money that you could possibly want to spend? We're going to see these against one another. Hopefully they meet in the Vanarama National League next year. We're going to go 5, 10, 15, 20 years into the future and see who wins. Will it be Hereford with all of their riches, or will it be Dover with their trapped WONDERKIDS? Let's get into it. Okay, end of season 1, you'd be expecting to see both of these clubs promoted. They were big favourites for their respective leagues, and you'd expect them to meet again now in the Vanarama National League. Let's find out if that is the case. Let's start with our perfect club, Hereford FC. And after this first season, they're second in the Vanarama National League North. However, they have won the playoffs. Okay, so they are going up, but they didn't do it by winning the league. That is a little bit interesting in itself. Spennymoor Town have got 105 points and had a great season. Hereford have finished on 90 and then beaten, who was it in the final there that they beat in the playoffs? It was Scunthorpe in the final. Let's have a look at this squad, because you'd expect them. What? Hang on a minute. With their reputation, they are able to attract big names. So maybe you'd expect a few big names in there, but of course it would be still in a really low rep league. However, Ralph Hasenhutel has taken over as manager at Hereford. So that is already showing what is possible here. They're paying him 13k a week in the Vanarama National League North. That is outrageous. That shouldn't happen. But of course, with these things, that is the type of thing that can happen. I'm looking as well. There's their key player is a new gen. Is that because he's really good? Have they bought him? He's actually come through the youth intake. They've got great facilities. So we're going to see players like this come through. And he's playing in the first team at 17 years old. Lewis Froud. I mean, maybe let's keep an eye on him too. They've still then, have they spent much money? They've beefed out the squad a little bit. I still see some recognizable names in here. Have they spent money? They spent 160k and bought a lot of players. In fact, some of these are real life signings anyway, so maybe not so much, but I mean, 160k in this league is a lot of money. Lee Jonas from Liverpool is one of them, 19-year-old. They've brought in players, they've spent money, they've got themselves promoted. Nothing, I would say, crazy so far, except for the fact that Ralph Hasenhutel is now the manager, and they've got some new gens that are already in their first team squad. They're making moves. Let's see if Dover, with all of their WONDERKIDS, now I would be completely shocked if they've not been promoted. Are we expecting to see Dover go quickly up the leagues, and then maybe will they plateau once they get to the Premier League, or will these WONDERKIDS just take them all the way to the very top, and then maybe Hereford build a little bit slower? Or are we expecting them to go at similar rates? It's going to be interesting to see, isn't it? Let's see then. How many points did Dover get in their first season? They have won the league. I can see it at the top there. Will Still has led them to a 131 points. Yeah, these players are too good for this league. 131 points. They've lost once. Who beat them? Bath City. GG's to you. 2 draws, 43 wins. Rooney Bargi got 18 goals. I want to see, how is he setting this team up? How is it looking here? Look, it is. I mean, do they have a keeper? Oh, Guillaume Rest is just not showing up there. You got Rico Lewis, Scalvini, Doyle, Hato, Diamande playing DM, João Neves there, Emery, Bargi, Ferguson, Yamal. The interesting thing about these as well is that they're going to get better with age, aren't they? Because they start so young, 16, 17, 18, 19. They're actually going to get better, but they have rubbish facilities. So are they going to get better at the rate that you would expect them to? I mean, how are they looking? Like, I mean, it's difficult to compare without anything. Lamine Yamal is already ridiculous. Has he improved much? I suppose we'd have to add a manager to see that progression, wouldn't we? Either way, though, both teams are going to be in the Vanarama National League proper next season. This league here, we will see our first comparison between the two of them. So what I'm going to go and do is we're going to go another 4 years. We're going to go 5 years in at this stage and see how they've got on. We'll have a look at this first season together and then see how they've kicked on from there. I suppose at this stage I should ask you as well, what's your prediction? Who's going to win this battle? Will Hereford, by the end of our 20 years, by the time we get to 2040 and beyond, which team will be the better team, the most established, and which will be better? Leave your prediction in the comments down below. And I suppose at this stage I'll ask you as well, please subscribe to the channel. Please do. We are pretty close to 75,000 subs, so it'd be really nice to hit that. If you're enjoying these videos, let me know by leaving a like, leave those comments, subscribe to the channel. Let's go into our 5-season mark of this simulation. All right, here we are then. 5 years in, 2028 is the date. Let's have a look at where our teams are up to at this stage then. So at the start, they were level pegging. Will one of our teams have gone ahead at this stage? Let's start with our perfect club, Hereford, with all of their facilities and all the money to spend. They are, as you see here, they've just won League One. So that now begs the question, are Dover in League One as well and they've beaten them, or are Dover above or below? This is the Hereford team, though. We'll find that out in a second because I do want to look at some of these things here. I can see that Lewis Froud, our new gen from the start, is still listed as our key player. How's he looking now? He's very good. He's 23 million to 68 million playing in League One. Lewis Cook is now the captain, and they've still got Ralph leading the charge up the leagues. Their reputation has dropped to 4 stars. Training facilities has gone down half a star and youth facilities down half a star. They are still playing at their 200,000 capacity stadium, though. Ralph is now a favoured personnel, as well as Bobby Decordova-Reid and Lewis Froud. This team, is that Fabio Carvalho? They've got Fabio Carvalho in their squad. He's only 25 as well. How much did he cost? They've bought him from Liverpool for only 1.6 million, but he's gone to play in League 2. This is where the reputation really skews things, isn't it? They've got players like Fabio Carvalho. That's why they are winning League 1 with 97 points. I mean, Rodrigo Muniz is actually scoring lots of goals for Swansea, so maybe it's just this game world. Leif Davis is there. Look, there's Lewis Froud with the average rating. He's their best player, it would seem. Let's have a look at the other players in this squad too. Then we'll find out what Dover are doing. I didn't see them in that league there, which makes me think that they're going to be above, perhaps into the Championship by now then. That would be my guess. We'll find out in a second. Joe Gellart is here. They've got Josh Madger. There's Fabio Carvalho. They've got Chris Mepham. I mean, Lorenzo Montipo. I mean, these players are definitely too good for this league. Look at that as well. Philip Billing plays for them. Bobby Decordova-Reid is there. Look, their squad is massive. Look how big their first team squad is. Let's have a look at the money they've spent. Okay. They spent £29.5 million in League One. That is a silly amount of money. They've actually sold players for 40. They sold Liam McKenna for 13 million, who's a new gen, a 6'5" centre back as well. Genesis Antwi, most of that money on this guy here, Adis Jasic from Everton, who starts in Austria. They've bought him for £11 million, rising to 13 in League One. Oh no, sorry, Leif Davis cost more than that. 12.75 in total as well. Once that's all done, they're spending serious money in the lower leagues. 29 million the year before as well. Most of it on just Madger. They actually spread it out quite a lot. 7 million for this Montipo, the goalie, I want to say, yeah. Before that, 9 million. That must have been in like even a league below that. 5 million on, they just went to Middlesbrough and gave them 10 million pounds basically. Before that, 13 million pounds. 9.5 on Lewis Cook, straight from Bournemouth, playing, I assume, in the Premier League to go and play in the Vanarama National League. That is what the money can do when it's backed up by the reputation as well, even if the league rep is low. They've splashed the cash. They've got themselves then up the leagues. Can we just go to their profile here? You can see their results. Look, there's their first season. Second season, they didn't go up, look, in the Vanarama National League. They went up second time around. Will that be where Dover have got ahead of them? They've then won the league 2 seasons in a row in the National League and League 2. They've also then gone and won League 1 after that. So 3 back-to-back winning champion seasons. Where are Dover? In fact, I can see it here. Dover won the league last year, which means they're going to be in the championship, aren't they? They've won the championship. They've actually reached the holy grail of the Premier League. They've won the championship. Their run to the top is going to be flawless, isn't it? Let's have a look at it here. Yeah, they've just gone straight up. First. No letting up. Even though they can't sign players, even though they've got no facilities or anything like that. Even though their manager is this guy, Liam Richardson. I assume he's a real guy. He was at Ipswich before. They are on their way to the Premier League. Their ground is still... They've actually extended it a little bit. It's up to nearly 8k now. This team of wonderkids with Shaquille Van Persie, Arda Güler, Sven Haus at Naipan, Valentin Barco playing left wing. This team is good enough to take the team to the Premier League. Let's just have a look at one or two of them. Key player is Dennis Seaman. Is he good? Yeah, I was wondering if they've actually developed. He is. He hasn't actually been capped by Germany yet. He's listed as their key player. I want to see maybe Evan Ferguson. I think he was the top goal scorer, wasn't he, in the league? No? Eddie Salcedo was. Is he still here, Evan Ferguson? He is. I just wanted to see how good he was. Is this a little bit below what he would be if he was playing for Brighton all this time? I wonder if it might be, but will that be an issue once they get to that top league? I'm not quite sure. Top goal scorer was Evan Ferguson with 15. Then Endrick with 11. Have any of them left? I don't think they can because they're locked in, but I just wanted to check that they've not managed to somehow bypass that. No one's left. I want to see Lamine Yamal. He's actually not being picked at the moment. He's definitely playing games. He's played 132 games. Because he's like top. We know that his potential ability is right at the very top. I wondered if he would be a bit better than this. Because he is now 20. His value's not even that high. Is that this year? He's not played at all this year. Because I think that would be this season, right? That's interesting. They've just stopped playing Lamine Yamal. I don't know what's going to happen there. I guess we'll find out. I guess with Dover off to the Premier League and Hereford off to the Championship, another 5 years you'd expect to see both of them in the Premier League and then perhaps going up against one another in competitions like the Champions League. That's where we're going to find out which team is going to be the winner of this simulation. So let's go to 10 years in the future. Let's go to 2033. We are 10 years into our timeline. 2033, we'll start with our perfect club, which I can actually see up here. They're making a bid for Duranville, the young player too. So it's a £57 million bid. This gives us a slight inkling about how both teams are doing then. I imagine they're now a Premier League team. Hereford are a Premier League team and they finished this season in third. Before I click at this, they've got rid of Hasenhüttl. Can we quickly take a moment's pause just to remember the man, the myth, the legend that is Ralph Hasenhüttl. He's actually an icon. He's now forget that. He's now manager of Real Madrid. Yeah, from Hereford to Real Madrid, that is quite the upwards arc. Fair play to you, Ralph. You've done the business there. Let's go back. Let's have a look at the manager now is Ernesto Valverde. Their captain is Jack Brown. Their key player is Scott Ryan. They are investing heavily, it would seem, in these young new gen players. Scott Ryan, key player, I'm going to say is quite good. He is quite good. Do you know what? Keeping it local with the Welsh players in the Hereford team. I quite like it. He came from Sheffield United. £81 million being spent. They've still got serious money then to go and spend, it would seem. The facilities reputation are all pretty good still. They finished third in the league. Do you know what I've just noticed? Dover are down in 8th. Hereford, I think for the first time in this versus battle, have gone ahead of the Wonderkids of Dover, and they are down in 8th. I don't know if that's been the case the whole time. Hereford haven't won the league. They've finished since getting here 9th, 10th, and now 7th. Now, their best season is this one where they finished 3rd. They've also brought in a few other players like Victor Boniface. I don't know why he's not got a Victor Boniface in my face pack there. That seems weird. They've also got Bradley Barcola, Quinton Timber, Nkapie. Some really good players. Diogo Costa in there. Let's have a look at the money they've spent. 127 million this year. There's that Scott Ryan. 62 million on Usama Targalini, who was a Moroccan defensive midfielder. Sold players for 109 million, actually. Richie was sold for 48. And Alejandro Frances was sold for 39 million to Leeds as well. 194 before that. 45 on Bradley Barcola being the biggest one. They've got Andre brought in from Everton too. William Pacho, I think actually just going to him, I think he's going to be heavily linked with Liverpool this summer. Just a heads up, I think they might go and get him. Other than that, let's go to the years before. Good free transfer of Piero Hincapié. Yarmoliuk for 65. Boniface was 64 million. 278 million pounds spent the year before that. Now, was this when they were in the Prem? Maybe it's their first season in the Premier League at this stage, but did spread out as well, but lots of money being spent there. Bonsubar being the most expensive, a young... again, my face pack must not be working, which is just upsetting. I know it's a real side note, but that is upsetting. I'm sure you've experienced it. They're spending big money. They are above Dover. Are they, though, more successful than Dover? I suppose we should also check their landmarks or perhaps their competition wins on here, because they have been... Okay, they've won European trophies. Not the Champions League yet, but they've won the Conference League in 2031. They've won the Europa League in 2033. If we go to competitions, you can kind of see them on here. Premier League, these are their Premier League seasons. 9, 10, 7th, 3rd. Sure, let's go to those. Super Cup, did they win it? They did win it. Although... Are they going to be in it? That doesn't say they've won it. They're going to be in it. Europa League, they did win it in 2032, 33. Conference League, they won it a year before. Nothing in the Champions League yet. FA Cups, no FA Cup wins. Carabao Cups, no Carabao Cup wins. We need to compare that now to our good friends over at Dover. Are they former champions or anything like that? They are not. They actually got relegated. Their team of WONDERKIDS, which maybe we're starting to see that plateau that we talked about at the start of the video. Their reputation is improving. They are, though, now, of course, and I should maybe have mentioned this before, able to buy players. That transfer ban was lifted a few seasons ago now. So they are able to bring in their own WONDERKIDS at this stage. Otherwise, those players would have just got too old and then, retired. So we need to think about the future. But they brought in a few players. Of course, all of this money they've had to generate themselves, though, through the leagues. That's why there's a transfer ban for a little bit and not the whole thing. They've spent some money then, so they have obviously, maybe because they've got all of that prize money and they've not been able to spend it, that they've managed to build up a decent amount of money. They are secure in their finances, it says. Predicted to finish 10th. Their key player is Lamine Yamal, who must have now got himself back into the team. Maybe he did play that season. No, he didn't. Look, he had a whole season where he just didn't play. He's back in the team and he's playing very, very well. He's now their key player, so weird. Maybe, was it an injury? I suppose we can check. Is there like one... Was it the next? He was only out for 6 weeks, 4 weeks there. It wasn't an injury either. He just had a season where he didn't play in their teams. Weird. John Kennedy is their manager now. Former Forest, Birmingham, Wigan, Celtic assistant manager. John Kennedy. JFK is now leading them maybe to success. I think Dover at this stage are behind Hereford then in our challenge. And I suppose the next thing we're going to need to do is go another 5 years into the future. I suppose let's just have a quick look at Evan Ferguson. Now that they're in the Premier League, are they going to have a bit more improvement? Their training facilities are up to a 3. Their ground's nearly 9K now. They're slowly but surely they are improving, but they're going to be behind a team like Hereford. If we just go to Hereford with all of these facilities and this money and the ability to bring in good players and with managers like Valverde, I feel like Hereford are just going to be and stay in front at this stage. I'm not sure. Let's go another 5 years. Let's go to 2038, where we're going to be 15 years in, and maybe some of our players like that have started, like Lamine Yamal, are either going to their very prime or maybe even coming to the end of their careers. Let's go to 2038 and see how things are going. 15 years then on the clock. 2037, some of those WONDERKIDS are either very much in their prime or even just past their prime now. Let's start with our perfect club, though, with all of the resources you could ask for. Hereford are now, where are they sitting in the Premier League? 4th in the Premier League. Let's have a look at their history along the top. I've just noticed as well. New manager, Valverde has gone. They've now got a new gen manager by the name of Danny Shields, who looks pretty good. Where was he born? Danny Shields. But yeah, okay, he wasn't born in Hereford. I was hoping he was going to be. Okay, they're spending 150k per week on him, though. He must be pretty good. Formerly Fulham and Middlesbrough manager. So they've changed there. The squad looks like this. Their key player is Scott Ryan. I think we did see him before, didn't we? He was the Welshman. And yeah, he's very, very good. He is their key player. Captain is Jack Brown. I'm seeing there's not many real players left in here. Marin at centre-back and Ozzo in midfield are their only real life players in this this previous game here. Said 200,000. I wonder how much of that they're actually filling. It'd be difficult to go and find out. Maybe if I go on schedule, will it say there? Can I add the attendance on here? I can quite easily. Wow. Okay. For this home, okay, some games, this is just the way the reputation works. For some games, they are getting 200,000. If it's like a big game at home, look, they're getting the full 200,000 attending too. So they are getting some serious money from this, just topping up what is going to be a, you know, a very big budget that they've got to spend anyway. Just want to go back through the league seasons here because this looks pretty good to me. And I'm just looking at this most recent season, not the one that's just been played. They won the league. I thought it was. Hereford have won the Premier League. It's Liverpool this year, Hereford in 4th, but they did win it the season before this. 77 points. It wasn't a great Premier League season. They have just pipped Man City and Liverpool to win the Premier League. Dover down in 7th then. It looks like Hereford are staying ahead. Just to mention as well, I know that I looked at Hereford's competition wins in the last section after 10 years. I did look at Dover's in between before starting this bit, and they hadn't won anything European. They got to a Carabao Cup semi-final, Carabao Cup final and lost, and that was it. So you hadn't missed anything in terms of what Dover had won. Hereford, though, have won a Premier League. Have they won anything else in terms of like Champions Leagues or anything like that? Runners up in the Super Cup, they've got that one Europa League, that one Conference League. So no, is the answer. They've not been able to do it in the Champions League. In the Champions League, how far have they got? Because they must have been in it for a while now. Semi-final 3 times. Barcelona, Arsenal, Inter. They're getting close. Is this competition between these two now? Is this versus challenge now very much a challenge of who can win the Champions League first? Hereford are ahead, I would say. Let's just have a look at their spending because that's kind of what they're up to. They bought Fabinho, who's not that Fabinho, from Brazil for 15 million. Maybe slowing down slightly on the spending here. No, maybe not. 152 the season before. Lee Anderson from Sevilla. These are very much new gens, aren't they? 79 million, 19 million. Enzo Fernandez on a free from Real Madrid playing for Hereford. You just do love to see it. And we've had a look at this season, I think, before that. Let's compare. This is the squad, by the way. Who's got the most goals? Cristiano Cruz, a 27-year-old Brazilian who, yeah, he's quite good. Let's have a look at Dover because that is, I think, the team that is lagging behind slightly now. They do have a new manager. They still play at Crabble Athletic Ground, by the way. Their reputation's up to 4 stars. That might now help. They are only going to be playing in the Conference League, though. But have they won some of those competitions? Maybe if they're in the Conference League, they might have won it, or the Europa League before that. New manager in Zach Miles. 55k a week on him. He's not quite as good as the Hereford new gen one, is he? They've still got all of these new gens in there, though. Lamine Yamal, Endrick, Ferguson, Kobe Mainu, Zara Emery, Diamande Hato, Lewis, and in goal, it's Dennis, our friend over there. And they're not doing great. These are the league seasons. They have finished 8th, 13th, 8th, 7th, and then most recently 8th. They're kind of there, like Conference League qualification spots, aren't they? Maybe a bit disappointing. Are they, though, being able to be successful in some other competitions? Europa League runner-up, FA Cup winner, Conference League winner, Carabao Cup runner-up. So they have won, since we last looked, a Conference League and an FA Cup, and got to a final of an FA Cup, and got to a final of a Europa League. They're almost there. If this rep continues to go up, if they can do well in these competitions, maybe they can make that next step in our final jump forward. We're going to go to 2040, which is when all of these players are due to leave the club, which will be the end of our simulation. They're all off to Saudi in 2040. They will also, in 3 years, be about 35 years old. Kobe Mino will be 35. Other players will be even older than that, right? Because we've got players that are already 33, look, in here. So this is sort of the end of the road for Dover. If there's some miracle and they win a Champions League in the next 5 years, or the next 3 years, I should say, then great. If they don't, I think it's going to be Hereford that are going to be the most successful. So the perfect club is better than just having a trapped squad of Wonderkids. Who knew? Let's just confirm that then by going to our final save point of our simulation. And here we are at the end of our simulation then. 2040, the 1st of July, which is the date where all of those Wonderkids now have gone from Dover to the Saudi League. Here is Hereford then in 2040, where the manager is now Roberto De Zerbi, which is quite an interesting one. And he is fresh off the back of leading Hereford to their worst season in ages. They finished 11th under him. And before that, I'm just looking back, seeing they finished second. There's that 4th. Before that, there's that title win of 1st. They've not won the league again. Have they, though? This team is just unrecognisable. Completely new gens, look, that they're spending money on. Their reputation is actually 4.5 stars now. And I think they've improved some of these. These have slipped a little bit and they've improved them back up, haven't they? Have they, though? And this is the big question. Have they won the Champions League? If we go to the overview, is there a Champions League in here? No, there's not. There's a Premier League, a Europa League, and a Conference League trophy. That's what we need to compare when we go and have a look at Dover. There's still a slim, mad chance that Dover have won the Champions League. Hereford have not. How have they done in... Oh, my word. They finished runners-up as well. They were runners-up last year where... Go to the final here. This was the year. This year, they lost to Liverpool in the final in Istanbul as well. And, from 1-0 up as well. They've thrown away a lead and Liverpool have taken it in the second half. This Liverpool team, which is, again, unrecognisable, basically. They've got Baleba and Drago, or however you say his name. Okay, so Hereford have not won a Champions League. They have won the Premier League, though, and I think that's going to put them ahead of Dover in this challenge. They've got Roberto De Zerbi as their manager now. They've spent silly money pretty much every single season. If you were to add this up, actually isn't as crazy as you think it might be. Like, there's a season here for 86, 500k this year, 22 the year before that, 79 that year, 19. They've not spent maybe as much as you'd expect them to. They actually spent more relatively in the early years when they were in like league, in the National League. Spending 13 is more than spending 29 in the Premier League, if you know what I mean. Let's have a look at Dover then and compare them. Have they done the miracle of winning the Champions League? I'm going to say probably not if they're finishing 7th, 8th, 9th, 14th. I'm not even sure they've been in the Champions League. It doesn't look like it, does it? Of course, all of their players have now departed. They have moved stadium, though. In 2037, they went from the Crabble Athletic Ground, whatever it was called. They've gone to the Dover Stadium, which is a 26,000-seater. So fair play to you. They've got themselves a nice new move to a new ground. Lamine Yamal is listed as a legend here. He's played 549 games, scored 143 goals. Fair play, Lamine. Enjoy your time now at Al Hilal in Saudi. New manager, they've got Jakob Niestrup in as their manager now. They've gone through a fair few managers, actually, Dover, haven't they? Have they done the incredible then? No, they've not won the Champions League. They have, in their history then, I think this is not as good as Hereford's looking at it. An FA Cup, a Conference League, 2 championships, because they did get relegated and then win it again. But that's it in terms of their trophies. Of course, they were majorly hamstrung by the fact that they only had those new gen players until later on in the save. And then by then, it was probably too late. Goes to show, I suppose, we'll leave it at this, that it's better to have a perfect club than it is to have a full squad of wonder kids. Who knew? Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I feel like it was an interesting one, and these things are interesting. If you've got ideas about what we should do next, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, but most importantly, have a lovely rest of your day. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.